Hi, today I'm going to make a recipe out of the book that came with the Ninja Foodi. On page 35, there's a beef chili cornbread casserole, and then the recipe for the cornbread batter is on page 41. So I'm going to make those two items today. It calls for 2 pounds of meat. I don't quite have 2 pounds and mine is frozen, so I need to get it going in the Ninja on slow cook to thaw it out. It also calls for 3 cans of red kidney beans, and in the Instapot I'm going to treat the beans, soak the beans, and get them ready for the next stage. And it calls for 2 cans of chopped tomatoes, and I don't have cans, I just have a combination of tomato paste, tomatoes, and tomato sauce, and that equals 800 grams. And then I have my turkey broth that I made the other day when I made turkey dinner, so I'm using my turkey broth, and it said 1 cup, a large onion, a bell pepper. I don't have jalapenos. I might put a few red chilies in there, but spicy doesn't usually go in the house, so I hesitate to do that. It said 4 cloves of garlic. It says kosher salt. I'm using Himalayan salt, some black pepper, and I just ground some cumin, and it says 2 tablespoons of cumin, some onion powder. I have onion powder that I made with my dehydrator, so onion powder, 1 tablespoon. Garlic powder. I don't know that I have garlic powder. I don't have garlic powder. I only do fresh garlic, although I could dehydrate some garlic and have garlic powder on hand. And then with the other recipe for the cornbread batter, uncooked, from page 41, and then some grated cheese. So to start, I'm going to put a cup of water or so in there is a measure on the side of the pot that shows the first mark is 2 cups, and I'm halfway there. And then I'm going to put my frozen meat in there and put my lid on. Slow cook. I want slow cook. Slow cook high, and I'll have to keep an eye on it. And my valve needs to be to vent because I'm not pressure cooking. And start. In the Instapot, I'm going to put 2 cups of dried beans. They say that the beans double in size, so I guesstimate a little bit of Himalayan salt, and then a generous amount of water. I'm using filtered water. I want to make sure I have enough water in there to allow for the beans to expand, double in size, and not run out of water. Put the lid on, pressure to seal, high pressure, let me see, manual, 30 minutes, and set it and forget it and let it go. In the meantime, I'm going to start preparing for the batter for the cornbread. The recipe for the cornbread, cheddar cornbread, on page 41 says 200 grams of flour, and I measured that out to 1 1/3 cup of flour. Now it says to do 125 grams of cornmeal. I'd say 3/4 of a cup of cornmeal. 58 grams of sugar. 2 teaspoons of salt. And 2 teaspoons of baking powder. The beans have naturally released. And it's time to give them a rinse. Make sure you're careful with picking up your pot because it's very hot. And that looks like they've doubled in size to me. Now I'm going to rinse them with some cool water. Now that the ground is ready, we're going to put a cup of stock in there. The tomatoes. And the beans. Give it a stir. Oh, this looks good already. Pressure lid. And we're going to pressure, so we're putting the vent forward. On high for 15 minutes. Pressure, high, 15 minutes. Okay, so there's 3 minutes left on the Ninja. So I'm going to start making the cornbread dough for this recipe. In the bottom corner it says you can use extra cornbread batter to make muffins. Cook 6 muffins at 350 degrees. So I have my oven preheating and I've got 6 greased muffin cups here. So now we're going to add, I'm using coconut milk, a cup of milk. The oil works, it says 6 milliliters of canola oil, and that worked out to a 1/4 cup of oil. One egg. And give it a stir. When the Ninja is done cooking, it's to be a quick release. And a generous cup of cheese. I've decided to do the bread recipe, cornbread recipe as a separate, as well as part of the video for making the chili. So I might break out the chili recipe and give you a choice of the long version or the short version. So that would mean three videos in your choice, long or short, depending on what you want to do. There we go. How's that for timing? Okay, so quick release. Quick release is turning the vent the valve over to this. That took almost 3 minutes for the quick release. Oh, look at that. Give it a stir. Okay, so we're now going to turn this off and then sear high and on. Add the onions, the green peppers, garlic. I'm only putting in 1 tablespoon of salt, but it called for 2 tablespoons of salt. And I'm putting in a half a tablespoon of pepper, not a whole tablespoon of pepper. 2 tablespoons of ground cumin. A tablespoon of onion powder. I don't have garlic powder, so seeing as I didn't have the chilies, I'm putting in a 1/4 teaspoon of Mexican chili powder. And then we're supposed to saute this for 5 minutes. Oh, that looks pretty dang good. It's interesting how different their approach is to making the chili compared to how I make my chili. So it'll be interesting to see how this translates. I don't usually go by recipes. I actually find it almost overwhelming to go by a recipe because I so often just do my cooking by instinct, as I have so many favorite recipes that are my go-tos. So we'll let this saute for 5 minutes and then I'll be back. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn this off, and it says to drop the cornbread batter evenly over the top. This looks like it's going to be delicious, and it doesn't look like I'm really gonna have much extra. It reminds me of dumplings. I don't know if I'm making them too big or not, but it looks like I'm going to be using all of the batter in this chili, and there isn't going to be any left over for making muffins. That's it, last one. All right, so the crisper lid is closed. Turn it on. Go to bake or roast at 360 degrees for 26 minutes. And start. So then it says after 15 minutes, open the lid and insert a wooden toothpick through the center of the cornbread. If the toothpick comes clean, oh, I put the cheese in the cornbread and it was supposed to be sprinkled on top, so I will sprinkle it on top as well. Cornbread is done. I put the cheese over top. Now we're just letting it melt. Okay, that looks pretty dang good. It says to put sour cream on it, but I think I'm going to put Parmesan cheese on mine. That looks pretty good. Oh, it smells delicious. Time for the taste test. Oh, I want some Parmesan cheese. There we go. I want to try the chili first. Very good. That's a do-over for sure. Very, very good. Okay, time for the cornbread with the chili. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this. We've had turkey for the last couple of days, so I thought I'd try something different and do the chili in the book. Oh, very good. Very, very good. That is a major do-over. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've tried this recipe, please comment below. Keep coming back as I'm going to do more.